Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to start with the topic data structure. So data structure is a very big term and is important to learn if you want to be a software programmer. So first we need to understand two related terms, data and information. So what are data and information? We are going to learn about it. So data are raw facts. That means whenever we need to start something, we need to collect the data. For example, I want to prepare the student record. So I need their admission number, roll number, father's name, mother's name, date of birth, etc. etc. So that particular data is a raw fact until and unless I am not preparing or arranging it into a proper manner. For example, this is the data. So it is written as 4.6, 1, 2, A, 2.3, 4, 3, then again alphabets and then one again floating point. So this data is a collection of different types of elements. And there is no meaning of this particular data right now. So the meaningless data is known as raw fact. Now, after processing the data, we get information. That means first, we are collecting the data. After that, we are going to process it. And the outcome which we are getting is an information. Now, information is this. That means these three values are of integer type. These three values are of string type. And these three values are of floating point number. So now when I have segregated all the values in different categories, so the data has become meaningful. So data and information. Data are the raw facts and information is the proper outcome of data after processing. Next. Now, data are the raw facts and the figures which are useful to an organization. We cannot take decisions on the basis of data. It can be a value or set of values. Now it is written over here that these are the raw facts which we have just understood, but why can't we take decisions on the basis of data? Let's understand this. Take an example of a toy manufacturing company. Now, the company needs to purchase the goods to prepare a toy, right? So the raw material can be a cotton, can be a cloth, and the threads or different elements which needs to be put on as a decorative material on the toy. But on the basis of that raw material, can the company take any decision like how much will be the production or what will be the cost of the toy? No. Company cannot decide anything until and unless the product is not ready in their hands. That's why we are saying that on the basis of raw material, raw facts, we cannot take decision. Information. Well processed data is called information. And this we have learned that once the data is there, after processing, it gets converted into an information. That means the meaningful data. And on the basis of information, we can take decisions. As I told you that once the raw material is collected and after processing, the toy is ready. Now the company is ready to take the decision. Like this is the product of my raw material of my company and now I'm going to sell it out at this particular cost. And if this is the cost, then how much will be the production next time? So these kind of decisions can be made on. Now what is data structure? These are the building blocks or raw material for any software program which is then processed to organize the data in the computer memory for subsequent usage. So basically, converting data into an information is my data structure. First, we need to take the raw material, then it needs to be processed to organize the data in the computer memory for the subsequent usage so that the processed data can be used in the future. In other words, The data structure is a technique or method to study that how data items are interrelated to each other. Now they can be interrelated to each other mathematically also or logically also. So what is the formula for data structure? Organized data plus allowed operation. When we combine these two things together, then my data structure is prepared. For example, this is the raw material of creating a toy. Now, once I add it along with toy making instruction, then finally I will get the result in the form of a toy. Similarly, if I talk about these particular data structures like arrays, linked lists, stack, queues, trees, or tuples, and I combine them along with the coding instructions, then finally one application is prepared. So data structures are known as the building blocks because they are really important in building up any application. And we need to understand that at what particular moment we need to choose which data structure. We can either go for arrays, we can either go for stacks, queues, or tuples. So taking a decision at the right time is also again very important. Next, classification of data structure. Now we need to understand that on what basis can we decide that which data structure is suitable for the given situation. So there are two types of data structures. One is primitive and second is non-primitive. Primitive data structure is divided into four categories, that is integer, float, string, and boolean. So primitive data types are the data types which we have already studied: integer, float, string, and boolean. Like integer can only store the complete number without any fractional part. Float contains a number along with the fractional part. String contains only the alphabets, and boolean contains only true or false values. So these are my primitive data types, which are predefined data types actually. Now, non-primitive data types. It can be linear or non-linear. Now we need to understand that what is linear and non-linear. So linear means a data structure is said to be linear when its elements are stored in sequential manner. That means one after another. And what is non-linear? A data structure is said to be non-linear when its elements are stored non-sequentially. That means randomly. So once the data is taking place in a sequence, it becomes my linear data structure. And once we are storing the data randomly here or there, it becomes my non-linear type of data structure. For example, linear type of data structures are arrays, linked lists, stacks, and queues. Because all these four types stores the data sequentially. That means one data is stored, then second, then third, then fourth, and then so on. And non-linear types are trees and graphs. So let's have a look. Linear is this. That means zeroth index position, one data is stored. After that, at first index location, we can store another data, then 2, 3, 4, and then so on. So sequentially, we are going to store the data. Data cannot take place randomly, like first data is stored at the zeroth index position, and after that, I'm going to store the second data at fourth index position. It doesn't happen. It takes place sequentially. But what is my non-linear? It works in this way. This is my tree structure, or we can say the hierarchical structure. So A is my root node, and after that, on the second level, we have three nodes B, C, and D, which are sharing the same level of data. And after that, the second level is containing E, F, G, H, I, and the last level is containing J and K. So this is like a tree. Like A is the root node, B, C, and D are its branches. Then E and F are the branches of B. Similarly, J and K are the branches of G. So here in non-linear structure, the data is stored randomly. Like after A, B can take place, then after B, E and F can take place. Then later on, we can come on to the C. There is no sequence formed over here. Next. Now, we can categorize the data structures on the basis of homogeneous and non-homogeneous as well. Now, let us understand what is homogeneous. Homogeneous data structure says that the types of elements should be same. A data structure is said to be homogeneous if the elements stored in it are of same type. For example, arrays. Arrays support homogeneous type of data structure. For example, there are 6 number of elements in my array and all are of integer type. Because if I want to store floating point number along with my integer number in my array, it is not at all possible because it will not support it. What is non-homogeneous? A data structure is said to be non-homogeneous if the elements stored in it are either of the same type or of different type. So this is my wish, whether I want to keep all the elements of the same type or I want to mix all the data types together in my one data structure. And who supports it? List and tuple. For example, there are 6 number of elements in my list and I have the combination of integer values and character values. So this is possible in case of list and tuple. And this non-homogeneous type of data structure is also known as heterogeneous data structure, which can contain different types of data. Next. The data structure can be classified on the basis of static and dynamic nature also. Now, what is static? A data structure is said to be static if its element size is already fixed. For example, array. What happens in case of array? For example, there are 6 element space which is provided to array. That means the size is already fixed. That my array is going to be stored 6 number of elements. But as you can see over here, I have stored only 5 number of elements. But in this case also, the size of array will remain 6. Although the one memory location is going waste because it is not holding any element. So whether I am storing 2 elements in this, 3 elements, 4 or all 6, the size of the array is not going to be changed at any cost. Similarly, if I'll remove 2 more elements over here from my array, then remaining elements will be 3, but the size will remain 6. What is dynamic? A data structure is said to be dynamic if it can be shrinked or expand as per the requirement. For example, list or tuple. As we have learned in our list also that if I want to store 5 number of elements, then the length of my list will become 5. If I'm going to store 10 number of elements in my list, then the length of my list will become 10. That means according to the requirement of the elements in the list, the size of the list is going to be calculated. So if I'll remove 2 elements from my existing list, like as you can see that 5 number of elements are there and I'm going to remove 4 and 5 from my list, then the length or the size of list will become 3. So I can shrink or I can expand. It depends upon the requirement that how many number of elements do I need into my list. So this is the basic difference between static and dynamic. Dynamic data structure is flexible in nature. We can increase or decrease the size of the data structure according to the requirement, but static will remain fixed. It cannot be decreased or increased in any way. So analysis of data structure says that we need to compare whether my data structure is of static type or dynamic type. Another classification can be done on the basis of that my data structure is going to be going to include the same type of elements or different types of elements. It can be classified on the basis of that whether the elements are going to be stored in the linear manner, that means the sequential manner, or non-sequential manner. So these are the key points to decide which data structure is suitable according to the situation, according to the requirement. As we can compare now arrays and lists together. Now array says that it is linear in nature, it is static also, and it contains the homogeneous types of elements also. But whereas my list says that it is linear in nature, which is the similarity between arrays and lists, but it is dynamic in nature and it can contain heterogeneous type of elements also. So this is the complete analysis of data structure. Now let's move on and understand that what type of operations can we perform on data structure. So first is insertion. Adding a new record to the structure is known as insertion. Take an example of school data structure, where 1500 records are already saved. And now because 2 new admissions have taken place in the school, so now my data structure will be modified to 1502 records. And this operation of adding new record to the structure is known as insertion. Traversing. Accessing each record exactly once so that certain items in the record may be processed. This accessing and processing is sometimes called visiting the record. Now take the example of the same school data structure. 1502 records are there now after inserting 2 more new records. Now I want to display each and every record one by one. So either I can do it with the help of for loop or while loop, so that the control will go and visit each and every record one by one, and the records will be displayed onto the output screen. So visiting each and every record is known as traversal of the records in data structure. Next, searching. Finding the location of the record with the given key value, or finding the location of all the records which satisfy one or more conditions. For example, I want to search the record of a child whose admission number is 810. Now, I have the key value. That means I have the key value in terms of admission number of a child, and easily I can search the location of the record. But what if I don't have a key value? In that case, I am completely helpless and I won't be able to search the record of a particular child. So finding the record in the data structure is known as search operation. Next, deletion, removing a record from the structure. The way we have added the record to the structure, in the same way we can remove a record from the structure as well. But for deletion, we need to first search the record, that which record I need to delete, and then I can remove it. So removal can take place in case of SLC issuance. Let's say one child has been issued one SLC from the school. So now 1502 records minus 1 is equal to 1501 records will be left in the school data structure. And removal of a record from the structure is known as a deletion operation. Sometimes 2 or more operations may be used in a given situation. Example, we may want to delete a record with a given key, which may mean we first need to search for the location of the record, and for that we have 2 operations which can be used in the special situation. As I have just given you an example, that if I want to delete a record from the data structure, then I need to first perform the search operation. Unless I don't know that which record needs to be deleted, I can't perform the deletion operation. And for searching, I need to have the key value. That means in a particular situation, I am dependent upon 2 or 3 operations in the sequence, and I need to follow them so that I can achieve my task. So these 2 operations are, first is sorting, arranging the record in some logical order. It can be either ascending or descending. Take an example of the same school data structure that I want to remove any record. So I need to have a key value, that means the admission number. Then I need to search the particular record. But the search operation is again dependent upon the arrangement of my data in the data structure. If all the admission numbers are stored illogically or randomly, it will be really difficult for me to put a search operation. So I need to check each and every admission number manually. But if my data is already sorted in ascending or descending order, it will become really convenient for me to reach to a particular admission number. So my search operation is again dependent upon the sorting operation. Next, merging. Combining two or more sorted files into a single file. That means if I want to merge or combine two or more files together or lists together, then also those files or lists must be sorted already. If they are not sorted, I cannot perform my merge operation. So in a given situation, for a given task, I can be dependent upon two or three operations in the sequence, and I need to follow it. So these are the operations of data structure. And here we are not talking about that on which particular data structure can we perform these operations. These operations are common and can be performed on any type of data structure. So we have learned today that what is data structure, how many types of data structures are there, and on what basis can we classify the data structure, and what type of operations can we perform on data structure. In our next video, we'll learn about Python data structure. So keep watching, keep practicing. I will come with more information in my next tutorial. Till then, stay safe, stay happy.